Good morning. Today I will talk about some disease of the nose. First of all, congenital choanal atresia. It is said to be due to persistence of primitive choanal bucco-nasal membrane. Types, three types: bony, most commonly, membranous, partly bony, partly membranous. Degrees, 4 degrees. First is complete unilateral atresia, most commonly, complete bilateral atresia, incomplete unilateral atresia, incomplete bilateral atresia, or choanal folds. Pathology: the partition is attached to sphenoid above, medial pterygoid plate of the sphenoid laterally, vomer on the inner side, and hard palate below. Both faces of partition are covered by mucous membrane. Its thickness may vary from 1 to 10 mm. Females are more commonly affected than males. Clinical features: unilateral atresia, nasal obstruction which not be noticed for some years. Excessive nasal discharge, characteristically tenacious and glue-like in consistency. Bilateral atresia will usually make itself evident at or soon after birth, and symptoms may be urgent and cause death due to asphyxia. Asphyxia, two types are described. Cyclical consists of quiescent period followed by asphyxia. Second, suckling only during mouth is closed as on sucking. Nasal discharge, delayed symptoms, mouth breathing, failure of development of taste and smell. Diagnosis can be confirmed by total absence of nasal airflow by mirror test. Plastic catheter or probe cannot be passed through nose into the nasopharynx. Air blown into the nostril through a closely fitted tube. It is not hard to enter the pharynx. Posterior rhinoscopy. Radiographs. A radio-opaque substance instilled into the nose cannot reach the nasopharynx. Treatment: the only operative treatment, 2 approaches: transpalatal excision and transnasal perforation. Injury to the nose or fracture of the nasal bones. Etiology usually caused by blows to the front or side of the nose, occasionally by penetrating wounds. Clinical feature: deformity, depression or lateral deformity. In the early stage, often prominent by flattening and or crookedness of the bridge. External swelling follows quickly. It may be so severe to obscure the bony deformity. Black eye, common. The ecchymosis is periorbital and subconjunctival. Pain, not usually severe after the initial impact, but there is marked tenderness. Epistaxis frequent. Nasal obstruction due to dislocation of the or hematoma. Diagnosis, radiograph. It is important medico-legally, but it is of little value clinically. Anteroposterior and lateral view of the nasal bones should be done. In lateral X-ray, it can be differentiated between undisplaced fracture of the nasal tip and the vascular markings on the normal nasal bone. Treatment early. If the patient is seen very early before swelling appears, reduce immediately under LA or is often sufficient. Elevation with Spencer valves forceps under the nasal bones combined with laterally applied digital pressure is usually effective in achieving disimpaction. And fragment Walsum forceps, one blade in the nasal cavity and other outside may be need for disimpaction. Intermediate, when the swelling is marked and tenderness and landmarks lost, leave until the swelling has subsided. Let 7 to 14 days. Probably the most satisfactory time to treat is as soon as swelling has subsided. When swelling has subsided, reduction can be undertaken under local or general anesthesia. The fragments are mobilized with Walsum forceps when necessary. It is sometimes possible to correct septal fracture and dislocation at the same time as forceps are used, but a submucous resection may be needed later. Malunion requires rhinoplasty. Next is CSF rhinorrhea, a flow of CSF from the nose, etiology traumatic, from the fractured base of the skull involving the anterior cranial fossa with tearing of dura mater. Second is spontaneous from destructive lesion involving the anterior involving the floor of the anterior cranial fossa. These are rare causes. Clinical feature, watery fluid drift from the nose. This is the most prominent symptom and sometimes the only one. The fluid contains practically no mucus or albumin. And dries soft on a handkerchief. It contains of glucose. Meningitis may supervene and may first bring the condition to notice. Investigation. The site of CSF leak is identifiable by radioactive transition in, tracer injected into the lumbar CSF followed by wool pledget placed in the roof of the both nasal cavities under GA. Each pledget is subsequently measured for radioactivity, and most active pledget indicates the anatomical location CT or cystogram or MRI may be done. Treatment: immediate, avoid meningeal infection by systemic antibiotics, avoidance of nose blowing, avoidance of any local treatment of nose, as for example packing, delayed lumboperitoneal shunt to reduce the CSF pressure if leak persists for more than 4 weeks. Craniotomy and fascial graft if this fails. An epidural blood patch or epidural patching with fibrin glue are treatment options. Oroentral fistula, a fistula through which the antral cavity communicates with the oral cavity. Etiology: dental extraction, sublabial operation, incision fails to heal, erosion by malignant disease, penetrating wound of the upper jaw. Clinical feature: discharge in the mouth, regurgitation of food particles and air into the nose. Symptoms of maxillary sinusitis occur frequently. A probe can be passed into the antrum from the mouth. Prolapse of antral lining may occur. Treatment: with very small alveolar fistula, the epithelial lining of the fistula is scraped away with a curette or cautery as the first line of treatment, but it often fails when fistula is recognized at the time of dental extraction, and immediate suturing of the gum over the fistula often heals by first intention under antibiotic cover. If the roots lie in the antrum, must be removed by Cardwell loop operation or through the tooth socket. With sublabial fistula, the rims of the fistula must be excised. The mucosal edges are then undercut and stitched carefully. With a large alveolar fistula, the opening may be closed with a flap from the hard palate or buccal mucosa. After excision of the fistula and adequate reduction of the bony alveolus. Hematoma of the septum or septal hematoma. Collection of blood beneath the mucoperichondrium or mucoperiosteum of the septum. Etiology: condition is nearly always traumatic, may be due to direct trauma, operation on the nose such as submucous resection. Clinical feature: nasal obstruction, usually bilateral and complete. Septal swelling is soft and sometimes Complications: septal abscess and cartilage necrosis are due to secondary infection. External deformity results: permanent thickening of the septum may be caused by fibrosis. Treatment: simple aspiration when hematoma is small. Incision and drainage: drainage can be maintained by inserting a drainage tube. Nasal packing will prevent further oozing of blood beneath the mucopericardium. Systemic antibiotics to prevent secondary infection. Septal abscess etiology: traumatic. An abscess is usually secondary to hematoma. Spontaneous, may follow measles or scarlet fever and may complicate nasal furunculosis. Clinical feature: pain, severe and throbbing, nasal obstruction, complete pyrexia will distinguish abscess from the hematoma. Sometimes swelling of septum, commonly dull purplish color. Symmetrical swelling of the septum, commonly dull purplish color. It is tender. Complications: external deformity due to cartilage necrosis, septal perforation due to sloughing and necrosis of mucous membrane and cartilage. Treatment must be immediate. Incision and drainage as for hematoma. Systemic antibiotics. Plastic surgical correction of deformity. Septal perforation etiology: traumatic is commoner type, such as septal operation. Peak ulcer results from picking off ulcerated area of septum in young and old persons. Chrome perforation seen in some chromium platters. It is caused by acid fumes. Next is snuff taker's perforation. Pathological perforation may be due to lupus, syphilis, involves the bony septum particularly, hematoma or abscess of the septum. Malignant granuloma and Wegener's granuloma, rhinitis sicca and rhinitis caseosa. Idiopathic, discovered accidentally without any history of trauma or disease. Clinical feature: irritation in the nose, commonly the first, often the only symptom. Epistaxis may occur following separation of crust from the unhealed area. Whistling is sometimes caused by a smaller perforation. Site of perforation: on bony part due to syphilis, and all other causes cartilaginous perforation. Treatment: in many cases no treatment is required. Surgical closure may be effected in a smaller perforation. Sliding mucopericardial flaps are used for this plastic procedure. Rhinolith, nasal concretions formed around a foreign body, blood or mucus. Pathology: rhinoliths may be friable or hard and are sometimes multiple. They are grayish brown or black in color. The concretions are formed of phosphate and carbonates of calcium and magnesium, often arranged in concentric layers. On examination, nasal discharge, unilateral, mucoid or mucopurulent and commonly fetid. It may also be blood stained. Nasal obstruction usual. Rhinolith commonly lies on or near floor. It is radio-opaque. Treatment is removal through the anterior nerve under GA. It may be necessary to break and remove it piecemeal. Rarely, a lateral rhinotomy may be required. Thank you. Okay.